2025, we were actually only home in our Dallas home for 29 days. We pretty much just have an address there. We have houses in Malaysia, we have houses in Laos, and as well as another house in Singapore as well. We went to 17 total in-person events, visited 11 countries, 17 states, 34 cities all around the world. And we also attended 6 online events as well while building an 8-figure business. In 2026, the start of this actual year, it's February 5th right now. We've actually only been home 3 days now. This is our Dallas home right now. And I'm actually leaving tomorrow to go to Sun Valley for a Tony Robbins finance event. And then we're off for a week. And then we're off to Singapore to celebrate Chinese New Year as well. But we already started this year, only being home 3 days. We have visited 5 countries. We left right before Christmas of last year, and we went to Singapore, went to Malaysia, went to Indonesia, went to Korea on the way to Asia. Then on the way back to the US, we just stopped by in Japan as well. We've already attended 2 in-person events and 1 virtual online event already. And again, still building a couple $100,000 a month business as well. So here's the thing I want to share with you guys though. Me and my wife really did not believe that lives like this existed for people like us. And I'm going to take you back to my story, right? A little backstory of how I grew up and what were the voids missing in what me and my wife's life that made really, what's presently what we make valuable, which is a lot of time, right? Time that we actually control. And that's why we made it kind of our mission to help people build wealth, right? As well as help people achieve not only just financial freedom, but also a time freedom as well. Okay. So I found myself 6 years old, 1980, being picked up by these 4 gentlemen, me, my brother, my sister. I grew up in Laos, country of Laos, and we were rushed into a couple of motorcycles and, through the middle, almost nightfall. We ended up at the banks of the Mekong River, crawling underneath these tall grasses. And we weren't the only families there. There was a lot of different families there. And we were scared, right? I was only 6 years old. My brother was like 9, almost 10. My sister was about 12 years old and didn't really know what was going on, but we just had to be quiet, right? So we met up with my mom there, and these 4, she had 2 gentlemen with her and the 2 gentlemen with us. And we met up with these 4 gentlemen waiting for nightfall, and find myself, as soon as the nightfall hits, me and my family and all the other families started rushing to the banks of the Mekong River on the Laos side to get in these makeshift canoes. So we're paddling. We're halfway across the Mekong. The Mekong River is about 300 yards wide where we were actually crossing. We were doing that to escape Laos, the country that we actually grew up in, to seek asylum to come to the United States. Our job was to really only just to cross the Mekong to Thailand and get there safe. That's it. That's the only thing that we had to do. So halfway through, at first we hear gunshots, and then we saw gunshots. That's when our canoe flipped. We're in the water, right? We're all in the water now, and my mom grabs onto me, and I'm clinging on to her, and she's, swimming at about, really hard, about 150 yards, and it felt like forever to actually get there. We made it, right? Thank God that me, my sister, my brother, my mom, myself actually made it. And unfortunately, some of the families that were crossing did not make it that night. And then the 2 gentlemen out of the 4 that actually helped us cross didn't make it as well. The Thai military turns on its floodlights. The Lao military has to stop shooting. We were to get taken to a refugee camp called Napo, where we lived there for a year, waiting for approval to come to the United States. And we got approval. And 1981, we were relocated to Minneapolis. At that time, was called Murderapolis. And I watched my parents leverage the government assistance like housing, food stamps, welfare for roughly about 6 months until they realized that, man, the American dream's within reach if they actually work hard enough. So they got off all that stuff and started working really hard. We saw, my parents work Monday through Friday in 2 full-time jobs. My mom would leave the house at like 6 a.m. to work her first shift and then work her second shift job till almost like midnight. And then she would come home and sleep for a few hours and do it all over again, Monday through Friday. Same thing with my dad. And then, on the weekend, they also worked another full-time job in the morning as well, from like 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., at hotels and whatever job they can get. So I watched my parents work really, really hard. So we didn't have a lot of time with them when I was growing up. And in terms of money, they made it roughly about $2.4 million because we actually took care of them, did all their taxes. They made about $2.4 million. The only problem is It took them a combined 69 years to make it. My mom worked for her company for 33 years, my dad for his company for 36 years, and they retired, quite honestly, broke. They retired with more time than they actually had money. And thank God that they were blessed enough to have children like us who were able to take care of them. My dad passed away a couple of years ago, but we gave him his best last 10 years of his life. As a matter of fact, I was the one who drove up to Minneapolis on a Christmas in 2012, forcing them both to retire, right? Because my wife at that time was pregnant with our son, Alexander, who's going to be born in 2013. We said, look, retire, move down with us. We'll take care of you. And they did, right? And so we took care of them. And my mom's still alive, so we still take care of her. But blessed enough to be able to have children in a position to be able to take care of them. They've been traveling the world with us over the last 10, 11 years, going wherever they want, eat whatever they want, buying them whatever they want. So, I feel very blessed, grateful, very fulfilled that I was able to provide my parents that. And my wife's story is very similar, right? She grew up in Malaysia. She's a Chinese, grew up in Malaysia. Her mom, left Malaysia to go start a business, right, in Singapore. And she just, spent a lot of time in Singapore building up her business. My wife grew up with her grandpa and grandma, and then they passed away. Then she moved in with her godmother and godfather, and where she was raised there. So she didn't have a lot of time with her parents as well. And she grew up with, with very to little no money as well, just kind of getting by, right? Paying, working to pay bills, the people around her. She came to the United States to come to school, and she didn't have full ride scholarships, or she didn't have support financially. She actually had to come here, saved up her own money, came here, worked, and then worked a summer job, for like 3 years just to, pay for her own education. And she did that. She didn't come from a background with money as well. So that's why for us, we both learned that, just like our parents, right? First off is, how do you live your very best life? How do you live life on your terms first? How do you take care of yourself and figure out what does life look like that makes you the most happy, right? Because we didn't, just like our parents, right? My mom and dad had to leave the conditions that we were in. They didn't like where we were going to be growing up to seek asylum or relocate to the United States, even risk their lives to do so. And then the second thing is, how do you find a different way to make money? Because we both watch our parents work very, very hard to make money just to pay bills and to build a life. But it took them very long, right? Like my parents combined 69 years, 36 and 33 years. Her mom works, literally till she's almost 60, almost 64 or 65. And she's now starting to kind of retire, right? And how do you make money? Not just make money. The amount of money is important, but it's the speed in which you make it so that you can actually have more time to actually enjoy what you're actually making. Because I don't really think about this, right? The model of the world right now is like, go get an education, 20, 25 years, educate yourself, and then work for another 40 years, and then finally retire and be free for the last 10 or 15 years. I'm like, what? The math doesn't equate, right? And I saw my dad do this, right? Because he only had the last 10, 11 years of his life to be free. And I'm like, that's not the model of the world that I believe in, right? So how do you do it differently? And then so second is about making money. How do you make money faster, right? So you have more time to enjoy it. And then third is, how do you buy back your time? How do you leverage? How do you automate? How do you delegate so that you can actually have more time to do the things that you love and spend time with the people you love and on the things that you love? And that's why we have made it such a, our mission, our passion to actually help other people do it, because we actually have been able to do this. But we figured out later as well, right? In 2019, our life started this way. First off is we didn't believe that lives like this existed for people like us, but we've been able to do it ever since 2019. That's why we're here to share with you, when we decided to live this way, when we designed it, and then how we're actually able to achieve it. Hello, C. Savan here. Before we dive into the video, I just wanted to really first off say thank you for being here. And because you're actually here, I'm going to invite you to attend our Dream Life, Dream Business Challenge. It's a challenge where we're going to walk you through how to live your dream life, how to love your dream business, build a business that you're absolutely in love with, waking up every single day doing what you know and love. I would love to have you to do three things. One is to like this video and comment your biggest takeaways, and then most importantly, subscribe so that when we drop a new training for you, you can actually be alerted as well. So again, I really appreciate you for being here, and subscribing to our channel is free, and we promise you we will not let you down with our content. So again, appreciate you being here. Thank you very, very much. let's dive right into the video. And that's really what you're going to get today from our Wealth and Freedom Accelerator Masterclass. Because again, me and my wife are freedom, our wealth and freedom coaches, right? Wealth is, we've been able to generate wealth for ourselves. I did not come from a wealthy family. My wife did not come from a wealthy family. So we want to make sure that a wealthy family comes from us. So we've been able to do that. Now we're actually able to be here to help other people. We really have a passion to help people build wealth for themselves and at the same time without sacrificing their freedom. And you get freedom by leveraging, by delegating, by automating your business, right? So that you can actually have more time, free up more time, and you can make the impact, you can generate the income and things like that. So what you're going to get from this is how to really live life on your terms, right? To live according to who God created you to be so that you can be absolutely in love with who you actually are. Second is how to scale a business that you love, right? So that you can be absolutely in love with what you do. And then third is how to delegate and automate so that you can build real wealth and achieve also time freedom. So if you're here, if you're wanting to stop the trading your very valuable time for a little bit of someone else's money, you're in the right place. If you want to turn your most valuable asset, you, into a high value offer, then you're in the right place as well. You see, that's what my parents did. That's what my wife's parents did as well. And we started doing this until we figured it out, right? That if you don't see yourself as the most valuable asset that you own, then you won't be able to turn that into an offer. And so your only offer is to trade your valuable time for a little bit of someone else's money. Trading your time essentially is trading your own life for a paycheck, right? Bronnie Ware wrote a book called Regrets of the Dying. And one of the top regrets of the top 5 regrets is that I wish I wouldn't have worked so hard, right? I wish I wouldn't have traded my life for a paycheck. That's one of the regrets of the dying. So that's what we want to do to help you avoid that regret. We'll share with you the 4 as well in a little bit. So if you want to be what we call an anywhere entrepreneur, so that who can live, work, and earn from anywhere, this masterclass is for you. I also understand the issue, right? Look, I spent most of my life in poor, right? At least we never really made it to middle class. Just be brutally honest with you, right? My parents were poor. And here's the thing, right? If you really look at money, one of the beliefs that we have to change is change what the primary purpose of money is. My parents, I watched them, when you're poor, you believe that the primary purpose of money is to make money to pay bills. That's it. I watched them work just to pay bills, right? They were being responsible, but I knew that my parents had gifts, they had superpowers, they had things that they can turn into a business or turn an offer, but they never did it. And bless their hearts, they just did the responsible thing, right? They provided for us, okay? So they pay bills on time. The middle class believe that the primary purpose of money is to make money and to pay bills on time so that you can have good credit, so that you can consume more, you can leverage the banks and credit cards so you can buy more things and stuff, right? That's middle class. And then the wealthy is they believe that the primary purpose of money is to make money, make more money, right? To make that money instead of being consumer, to create so that you can actually make more money and then use that money to create more money, to buy assets or create assets or to invest so that that investment or that asset makes more money so that then you can then buy and be a consumer and buy things and stuff with the money that the money made money, right? They want to make the Benjamins make more Benjamins, right? But I understand, like the model of the world that we saw, that I know that I saw, you probably saw it as well. You look around and be like, why are some people wealthy? Why do certain people have? Some people don't have, right? Is it building wealth that complicated? Is it just made for the 1%, the 5%, the top 10% of the world? How do they have this? What do they do, right? What are they doing? And that's really what it is. It's finding out they have it because they found a way to do something different. You see, I believe that you don't have a money problem. You have a problem with the way that you're making money, right? Again, listen to me, my friends. You don't have a money problem. You have a problem with the way that you're actually making money. So you have to change how we do things, right? But here's the real truth. This is the conditioning or the programming that we all actually learned. In order for you to have, you must do. But in order for you to do, you must be, right? And if you really look at who we were at one point, and I'll share my story, who I was at one point, and what shifts I needed to be to become the person, right, I needed to be able to be an entrepreneur and create offers, see myself as value. Let's look at the plan, right? There's two plans. One plan is the world's plan, or the man's plan, the conditioning, right? You were probably asked this question, or you probably heard this question several times being asked to you or even people around you. Who do you want to be when you grow up? Right? That question alone, when asked, it creates this box. They say, let's think outside the box. Why do you have to think outside the box if there's no box, right? But that question alone is a problem, because here's what ends up happening. When I was asked this question, several things were flashed in front of me, right? Who do you want to be when you grow up? And then now I get to choose. I look at these set of cards in this book, and I'm like, be a doctor, a dentist, a politician, a salesperson, a technician, fireman, a police officer. I saw engineer. I chose engineer, right? That's who I want to be when I grow up. I want to be an engineer, right? And then on top of the engineer, then you have to find the subtitles. Okay, do I want to be a software engineer? Or do I want to be a mechanical engineer? Do I want to be an electrical engineer, right? Aerospace engineer. And then once you choose one, I chose electrical engineer, then they also tell you what you're worth. So electrical engineers make roughly between this much and this much, right? At that time, it was like, $60,000 to like $85,000 per year. That's a lot of money. It's good money, right? So then what do you do? Right? What do you do? The world's plan, man's plan says, okay, if you chosen to be this person, then you have to become that person, right? By title. So you go and get a good education. You work, again, go to school for 20, 25 years. And then you get the degree. You get all this debt. Then you go work as an engineer, right? And then you do what engineers do, work hard, save up, and hopefully everything works out well, that you don't get laid off, you don't get fired, you're healthy throughout your 40 years of working, and then retire happy one day so that you can be finally free for the last 10 years, 15 years of your life. That's the motto of the world. That's man's plans. And I went down that road. I went to get education. I went to get a degree. I went to get into debt. I started working, and I realized, man, this is not for me. This is not for me whatsoever, right? In 2004, I realized that I saw two quotes. One was by Jim Rohn that says, if you did not come from a wealthy family, make sure that a wealthy family comes from you. That was the first quote that kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, man, God created me to ensure that a wealthy family does come from me. And then second is, I saw this quote that says, if you don't build your dream, someone will hire you to build theirs. And I'm like, they're like stabbing me, right? I'm like, oh my God, yeah, no wonder I've been trading my time, valuable time, for a little bit of someone else's money because I'm not building my dream, right? So God's plan is different, right? God's plans is you step into your calling, your purpose of what God created you to be, right? Because think about this. God's a creator. He's the best example of creation, right? Genesis 1:1 says God created the heavens and earth. Genesis 1:27 says God created man from his image, in his own image, right? So God is creator. So God is the source. If you look at it, the source of creation. And you are the creation. So you are the resource that God created, right? So then if you are the resource, God created you, then what your job is to create, right? To shift from a consumer to a creator. So then you create things and stuff. You create assets. You create books. You create courses. You create products. You create services. You create a business. You create an offer, right? Create an offer that the marketplace needs, a problem that they need solving, payoff, right? A result, a transformation. You create things. You can transfer your skills, things that you know, things that you love, things that who you are. You turn that into an offer, right? That's God's plans, because as we know, we think that assets are like things and stuff that we buy, like apartment complexes, cars and houses, stocks. Those are assets. No, but you are the most valuable asset. And income always follows assets, right? Because that's really all wealth is. It's just the more valuable you are, that you see yourself as valuable, you create, an asset that is valuable in the marketplace. Because again, the more value you create, the more wealth you have. That's it, right? And I'm like, oh my God, that's what happens. Why all these people are able to be rich and wealthy and influencing the world and helping people, because they turn themselves into an offer that's highly valued, and wealth follows, right? That's God's plans. And so that's basically what I did. That's what I recognized as God's plan. So in 2004, I saw these two quotes and I'm like, I gotta start my business. But I didn't start it right away. It took me like a year and a half to figure out that I need to be at the shift from that employee to entrepreneur, right? I was actually getting a promotion working for this company, pretty large company. And I was getting promoted because the chairman flew in. I got a chance to spend time with the chairman, the CEO of our company, and the vice president, who I was getting his job. So, but when I spent time with these three gentlemen, got to know them on a deeper personal level, the chairman, he'd been divorced for 5 times. My CEO, 2 times. And on his way to his third, like he was telling about how his marriage was, right? His relationship with his third wife is. My boss, who was a vice president, didn't have a relationship with his family, his kids, right? So I'm like, oh my God. So when I walked into this meeting to get a promotion, I told myself the very next day, walked in, I looked at these three gentlemen, and I said, man, I don't want to be anyone. Is this what I'm aspiring to be? I don't want to be any one of these three people. They did give me a promotion. They gave me a raise. I went to lunch that day and I came back and I submitted my resignation and started my journey towards starting my business. December 3rd, 2005, me and my girlfriend, who's my wife now, started our business. And it was a sales company. We started it and we, did very well at it. We grew that company from 2005 to 2018. We actually started several companies and some were successful, some were not. So we failed plenty, right? And we succeeded plenty as well. We learned a lot from both struggles and successes. Okay. And then in 2018, something happened, had a little bit overconfidence and kind of, seeked out some opportunities and really was really optimistic about the opportunities. I purchased some real estate pretty much all at one time and started doing these renovations and fixing up houses and selling in the open market. And first few were great. They were making money, right? And then market shifts a little bit and we were a little aggressive on our after repair values and all kinds of several things. We held some properties too long. We went over budget on renovations because we were so new in real estate. We've never done real estate before. And at the beginning of 2018, all the way to the end of 2018, we had lost about $5 million. Wiped out everything that I worked hard for, right? So I started questioning myself, what's the purpose of life? What am I doing this for? And 2019 really was a discovery year, right? I went to several Tony Robbins events and went to this event called Date with Destiny. And at that event, we find out these primary questions that we ask ourselves, right, all the time. And my primary question, and my wife's at the same time, was the same, was how can I be successful, make a lot of money so that I could finally be happy, right? Because we saw, our parents not having a lot of time, not having a lot of money. So I said, wow, because if you have time and money, you're going to be very happy, right? Then we'll be happy. No wonder it drove us to build and make businesses and success and achievement a priority, but we weren't happy, right? Even though before even the failure, we weren't happy, but we were running business. We were happy enough that we were business owners or entrepreneurs, but we really found out that we weren't really business owners. We were just business operators. We owned self-employed jobs. Okay. So 2019, question changed. We said that our primary question became, if time and money were no longer an issue, how would we be living? How would we be living? Who would we be? Right? Where are we? Who are we with? Why are we there? Where are we going? How long are we staying there? So we came up with an answer that says, our happiness, who we are. Because here's the thing. Here's the formula for happiness and the formula for unhappiness. The formula for happiness is if your life matches who you are. The formula for unhappiness is if your life does not match who you are, right? So two things have to change. Either you change your life conditions or you change who you are. So in 2019, we changed who we were. We was like, we don't want to be, an operator. We don't want to be working, for our business. Our business was supposed to be working for us. We don't want to work always in our business. We want to work on our business, right? So we changed who we are. We changed, essentially, we said, if time money were no longer the issue, this is how we would be living. We want to go where we want, when we want, stay as long as we want, bring as many people as we want. That is freedom, right? For us, for me and my wife. So we declared that that's how we wanted to live first. That's happiness now. So now we just have to change our life conditions. We had to figure out how do we make decisions in our life, live our life according to who we are, as well as run this new business according to who we are now. So imagine a life where you actually are living your very best life, whatever that looks like to you. For us, for freedom, for us means fulfillment, for us means go wherever we want, when we want, stay as long as we want, bring as many people as we want. Imagine you're living life on your terms, whatever a lifestyle by design, you're actually living it. And then also imagine you're running a business that you actually love. You've chosen a vehicle. That's really because what business is. It's just a vehicle that helps you, you literally, that funds, I call it funds and fuels this dream life. So for us, or your version of ikigai. So if you don't know what ikigai means, it's a Japanese philosophy that says it's a reason for being. This is where what you love, this is something you're super passionate about, you love this, and what you're great at, which is your expertise, what the world needs. Again, there's people you're called to serve. There's a marketplace, a demand for what you have, what the world needs that you can be paid for. That's the ikigai way. So look it up. Ikigai, I-K-I-G-A, ikigai way. That's a reason for being. So look at that up. So what's your ikigai? So for us, like I said, we didn't think that a life, a business like this existed for people like us until we started seeing this stuff first. We started said, hey, what's our life look like? What's happiness look like now? And then let's find a vehicle to make that happen, not the other way around. So we've always thought we had to find a vehicle to make that happen, a business success to happen, and then we'd be happy in our life. And that's definitely not the way, because again, that way got us in trouble. That way is man's plans, world's plans. And how do you live God's plans now? God created you to step into this purpose, step into this calling, to be happy, to create, not to be consumers. How do you live happy now? Decide and live that first. And then deciding a vehicle, choosing a vehicle to actually fund and fuel that. Right. So let's share with you how we actually made that happen. 3 steps. The very first, so everything that we learned basically, right, from how me and my wife grew up to our experiences running business successfully, not successfully, to losing $5 million, to, designing our life and building a business and getting all of that back. So how did we do that? How did we are able to live this way over the last 6 years since 2019? The very first step is a destination, which is decide on your destination first. Essentially your life first. What does that look like? Kind of like a road trip. I remember when I was 8 years old, my parents started saving enough money to take us on road trips. They couldn't afford plane tickets. We couldn't really afford family vacations long, but we would take, they after working for like almost 4 years about 3 years at that time, very long hours, they start just work Monday through Friday. And then on the weekends, they stop their weekend job. So we started taking these little two-day road trips. And again, that's the first thing you have to really make a decision on is, what's the destination? What does that look like, right? On a trip, same things. Life's the same way. What does life look like? What does that look like where you actually want to go? So my parents would say, oh, do you want to go to Iowa? Do you want to go to Chicago? We just basically went within, a 2 to 6 hour radius or furthest from our house. And that's it. So we want to go to Chicago, we want to go to Illinois, we want to go to Iowa, things like that. So take these small little trips. So same thing there. So what does the destination look like? What does your life look like that you want to say, this is happiness. This is the formula for happiness. This is my life conditions matches who I am. Whether it be more time with your children, whether you want to, contribute more, whether you want to take care of yourself more, to spending more time with yourself, whatever that looks like to freedom, fulfillment is different for everyone. But for me and my wife, it's go where we want. We say, I want to go here. I want to go here. When we want. We want to go whenever we want. Make a decision now. Stay there as long as we want, and bring as many people that we love with us as possible. Friends, family, all of that stuff. So that's our destination. So decide that. Sit down. The time and money were no longer an issue. How would you live it? Right? And then 2, business second. Then business as the vehicle. Then choose your business. So in 2019, when we decided to live this way, we said, okay, we obviously need a vehicle, something to fund and fuel this. So then we said, we have to do this online. Another decision that we made on top of our business, we said we've been entrepreneurs now at that time for 14 years. And we said, well, we can't run offline businesses. If we want to go where we want to stay as long as we want, bring as many people as we want, we have to run our business online. So that was the first decision. So she launched her virtual assistants business at the beginning of 2020, right as COVID happened. And I launched my business coaching. At that time, it wasn't really a coaching business. It was more of a funnel building business. That's where, we both won our 2 Common Club awards for generating, $1 million inside of a sales funnel for each business. So we then decided a business. So a business that can fund and fuel it. So that's why it's the second part. How we actually stayed with making that decision to say, this is our dream life. How do we stay the course and make sure that we don't get distracted and get knocked off course? We created a decision-making tool called, so we had a final decision of our freedom, the freedom life. And any decision after that has to follow that main decision. So like, for example, our business, does this take us further or closer to our dream, to our freedom, to go online? And we said, yes, it takes us closer. So it either contributes or contaminates your freedom. So for us, online businesses contributed to our freedom. So that's why we said yes to both those businesses. At that time, my son was ready to go to school, Alexander. So we had to make a decision. We brought him to 3 private Christian schools, and we looked at all. We actually liked one of them. We really, really liked one, and we wanted to enroll on them. But we said, wait, we made a decision. Our freedom life looks like this. So by enrolling him into the school, does this contribute or does this contaminate our freedom? And unfortunately, it contaminated it. So we said, well, we got to homeschool and we got to find a different alternative. That's how we went homeschool, and we've been homeschooling them ever since, right? So that they can go wherever we want, travel the world with us. A third decision that we had to make was a friend asked us to start business with them. And same thing, we went and looked at the business and we said, man, this business, even though financially it makes sense, unfortunately, it contaminated our freedom. It did not contribute to it. We'd have to be physically there in Houston with them all the time to build this business. So it takes us away from our freedom. So it contaminated, even though money made sense, we couldn't do it. So we decided, against running that business. So again, business as the vehicle, right, to fund and fuel it. That's essentially what we did. So we launched our VA business and we launched our funnel building, and then which led into a business coaching business as well. And then third is people as the fuel. Step one, again, destination. You got to know what your life looks like first. Second, business as the vehicle. And then third is people as the fuel, right? You got this vehicle. Now you need people as the fuel. And there's 3 people that you really want to leverage as people. First is coaches, right? We didn't have online presence. We didn't know how to sell online. We didn't have social media presence, none of that stuff. So we found, a coach, right? At that time, Russell Brunson. We went to Tony and Dean Graciosi as well. But we went to Funnel Hacking Live in 2020. And we said, man, he's the best right now online marketer. He's going to be our coach. So you got to leverage people as fuel. So we leverage coaches as fuel to help us build this business. So Russell Brunson's one of them. The second people is a peer group to actually run with. People who you can bounce ideas off of, people who are a few steps ahead of you or even a lot of steps ahead of you or running with you, that inspires you so that you can model after success as well. So we did that. So we joined, Tony Robbins Platinum Partnership and started surrounding ourselves with 7, 8, 9-figure business owners, entrepreneurs who were actually, some were just kind of learning their way. Some were growing and scaling. Some were really crushing it, doing tons of leverage and automation, things like that, and really being business owners. Some were business operators. So learning, things, what not to do from people, what to do from people. Because I really believe that the fastest way to success is to model after success, because somebody's done what you want to do. Somebody's become who you want to be. And people have what you want to have. So why not just model after what they've been able to do and just bring your own personality, bring your own essence, and find a better way to deliver, to find a better way to innovate and market yourself and deliver your client, meet your client's needs, with that model. You don't have to copy them. Just watch what people are doing, because success leaves clues. Like my mentor, Tony Robbins, said, success leaves clues. So the second people is your peer group. And third is people who complete you. So at that time in 2020, we had already worked with our virtual assistants for 10 years. 2010, we hired our very first VA, and Monique is actually she was our second hire. As a matter of fact, she's been with us ever since then. She's still with us now. She's actually moved up to a COO role where she's running our entire operations. But start leveraging people who can complete you. Outsource your weaknesses, outsource the things that you don't like, you don't love, things that you shouldn't do, don't want to do. Because think about this. If you want to make $1 million and let's say you work 40 hours per week and you took a couple weeks off in the year and you worked, 50 weeks, that's 2,000 hours. That means if you want to build a 7-figure business, you're worth $500 per hour. So stop doing a $10 task. Outsource the rest so you can stay in your zone, stay in your zone of genius, stay in your strength zone, stay in your lane, so that this way you can spend more of your time on influencing activities, impact activities, high income generating activities, and then outsource the rest, leverage the rest. especially things that you don't know, things you're not actually good at. So I leverage everything that we're not good at, that we don't want to do, so that we know that if we stay in our lane and do these things, it's going to make the most impact, the most influence, and generate the most income. So again, that's the process. That's what me and my wife did. First is destination, life first. Imagine, envision what that actually looks like. Start designing it, deciding to live that way. Second is then choose a business vehicle, create an offer. The best business vehicle is you, right? You are the most valuable asset. Turn what you know, what you love, who you are into an offer. Because again, the more valuable you are, the more wealthy you get, because you're making impact. You're impacting people's lives. You're solving problems. You're helping people achieve a payoff. You're transferring skills. You're sharing strategies, frameworks, whatever you've been through. That's the best offers. You're creating an offer that you wish you had. So, and then choose a business as the vehicle. And then third is people. Learn to leverage coaches that can help you go faster, that can help you avoid mistakes, peer groups that you can bounce ideas off of, that you can run with, and then leverage people. Outsource your weaknesses so that you can actually stay in your lane. And look, here, I get it. I don't know what gets in your way internally, but when I started seeing, even when I went to Russell's World, and as I stood there in the audience and watched these people walk across the stage and win their Two Comma Cup award, me and my wife, we sat there, we started questioning ourselves. Can we do it? Are we good enough? Am I enough? All of those things are internal best, because we didn't see this, right? We didn't see this type of success. We wouldn't join Tony Robbins' Planet Partner. We didn't see this type of success. We did not have examples of this. The best example we saw was our parents, where they worked, their guts off and spent a lot of time trading their time, essentially trading their life for money, for a paycheck. So that's all that we saw. So we didn't see this speed in which to build wealth and to achieve not only just financial freedom, but time freedom as well. We didn't see any of this stuff. So yes, you will start doubting and questioning yourself like we did. So here's what I ended up doing. I said, look, I stood there and I watched these people walk the stage and achieve success. And that's why you need some people around you to inspire you, both coaches and peer group. I said, man, if these people can do it, I can too. So I gave myself permission. That's the first thing I did. We both did. And second, we changed our pattern. We stood there and we said, the pattern that does not serve us right now is to try to do this on our own. We've been trying to do this on our own ever since. We haven't really got coaching, haven't really got involved with people to inspire us. We just kind of built it, school of hard knocks, just did it the best we can with what we had. I said, let's really lean into communities and let's model after success. We changed that pattern to get coaching, to join and surround ourselves with successful people. And then third is we really changed our peer group. We changed who we surround ourselves. We always say that you become the 5 people you surround yourself with. I don't really necessarily believe that. I believe that you become the people you allow to influence you the most, because that's what it is. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So we started surrounding ourselves with better people who were generating 7 figures that we wanted to generate. And once we generated 7 figures, we started spending time with people who were doing 8, 9 figures. Now we're at 8 figures ourselves. So now we're looking to, spending a lot of time with people who are generating 9 figures and above. So that's kind of what we're doing. So we changed our peer group as well. And that's really how you kind of, overcome your own self-doubt. Because again, that's what we have, right? This is internal battle in our head, this war in our heart, right? Are we ever enough? And that's really I think a lot of us fear, and we're human. It's okay. But start surrounding yourself with other people who are actually doing it, right? Do you want to win a 2 Comma Cup award? We've done it. Or build a 7-figure business? We've done it. Or go to 8 figures? We've done it, right? You want to, dig yourself out of a deep, dark hole that you've actually are in right now or going through. You've done that too, right? You want to learn from your failures. We've done that too. You want to go faster? We can show you, right? Things like that. So just surround yourself with people who can actually help you, who actually also care. The reason why we're here to share this with you is because we just care. Look, like we're not trying to get something from you. I'm here to give, right? Because I know what it feels like to struggle and to be in that much pain and to hurt and to feel like a big failure when you lose, like we, lost $5 million. Like it doesn't feel good, right? And I'm here to share with you how to avoid all of that if I could possibly give you anything, right? So that's really why me and my wife here. That's why we created this. So how do you get out of your own way? Again, be around other people, right? But then this is external. This is up to you, right? One is, again, get clarity. First step is get clarity in your life. What does that look like? Really get clarity, right? What is it that you want, right? Just like a business trip or a road trip, you know where you want to go. You have to know, right? Just like a GPS. The very first thing it's got to ask you is, where do you want to go? So you punch in the address where you want to go, but it can't give you directions. It can't give you the plan. It can't map out, how to get there unless you tell it where you are, your current location. And once you do that, boom, it punches in the directions and helps you avoid, expressways, whatever it is that you calculate, that you set, and it's going to calculate how to get from where you are to where you want to go, right? So the very first step is clarity in your life. And then second step is clarity in your profession. Again, you got to tell yourself, where are you now? What vehicle will you choose to get to that destination? And that's really how to get out of your own way. So if you want to learn how to do this and how we actually did it in graver detail, I want to invite you to our Dream Life, Dream Business Challenge. It's a 5-day challenge where we're going to spend 1 to 2 hours with you every single day. Very first day is about live your dream life. And call this strengthen your imagination. I believe that our only limitation is our imagination. Our only limitation is our imagination. And we kids, right? We had all kinds of imagination, right? And we lose that along the way. Fear sets in and conditioning sets in. But it's about living your dream life. It's about crafting, deciding, designing your dream life. And we're going to walk through how we actually did it and how we stay the course with our tool to make decisions. Second day is about love your dream business. You got to wake up every single day running business you love. Otherwise, you're going to wake up and hate your business and resent your clients. So what does this vehicle that you're going to choose to fund and fuel this amazing lifestyle, how do you actually build it, right? What's the focus there on what you're actually selling? How do you see yourself as the most valuable asset? And how do you turn that into an offer, right? That's love your dream business. Third day is leverage your dream team. Who do you need around you? Who are you? First off, you got to find out who you are, identify who you are, a dreamer, designer, doer, right? And then once you identify who you are, then who do you need? Right. And then what needs to get done and who needs. So that's leverage your dream team. And then you want to launch your dream infiltration. How do you take this to the marketplace? How do you succeed in the marketplace? Right. How do you focus on marketing, creating your irresistible offer? How do you generate leads? How do you sell? How do you deliver? What's your fulfillment like? Right. How do you automate your business? Things like that. How do you leverage your business so that you can take your most valuable asset, into the marketplace? And then day 5 is about linking your design, right? Integration. Basically, how do you link your team, your tech, and your to-dos, or all that as you're taking it out to the marketplace. So that is our Dream Life, Dream Business Challenge. We're going to walk you through how we've been able to live our very best life. We run and operate a business that we love. We sell high ticket, how we market ourselves, how we generate leads, how we sell our high ticket, how we serve every single day, and how we deliver. That really aligns with who we've actually chosen to be. So our life and business conditions and our leverage conditions, the conditions matches basically who we are. That's what the Dream Life, Dream Business Challenge is all about. So imagine you took action. You clicked on that link below. You attended our Dream Life, Dream Business Challenge. You got the map, the blueprint, and how to get from where you are to where you want to go, how to live your dream life, how to operate a business you love, how to delegate and automate, how to leverage, how to infiltrate the marketplace, how to market, lead gen, sell your high ticket, and then how to actually link all of it together, right? So that you have some delegation going on, you have automation going on, so that you can, have the tech. If you tech's your thing, right? Team's your thing. Like, I've never managed a team before. We're going to walk you through how to manage them, how to have the clarity, how to deploy the right people to do the right things, and then how to really organize your tasks so that you can buy back your time, so that you have more time to spend doing what you love, things you love, and with the people you love. Imagine that was your life after you attended the Dream Life, Dream Business Challenge. And now imagine if you didn't take action. Imagine the regrets. You got the rewards of action, but imagine the regrets of inaction. You go back doing the same thing you're doing now. My friends, if you're not liking your life, if your life conditions is not matching who you really are, or your professional conditions is not matching who you are, it's time for change. And this is the very first step. I promise you, if you attend this challenge, if you don't get what you want, because we also give you what we call a 10 times better than money back guarantee. What that means is whatever you paid to be there, right? To be there with us for those 5 days. If we don't deliver 10 times the value, right, of you being there, then you can request 100% your money back. I guarantee you, the only reason why I put that in place, you're going to get way more than 10 times the value. I know that because you're actually coming to learn from people who are actually living it. I always say this for content creators. You don't have to create content, just be the content, right? And you don't have to worry about selling, or you can disconnect yourself from your sales results if you just live your transformation. People need to want to be you, right? And if they want to be you, if you're living it, then that's it. So me and my wife are living it. So if you want this type of a life, you may not want exactly the way as much travel as we do, but if you want some parts of it, or if you want to live just like how we live, then we're living it. But we want to show you exactly how. So again, click on the link below. We will see you at our Dream Life, Dream Business Challenge. See you there. Hello, C. Savan here. I hope you enjoyed and took a lot from this video. And if you are looking to live life on your terms, right, to be able to build a business also that allows you to live, to work, to earn from anywhere. If you're looking to delegate and automate with people, then we're inviting you to our Dream Life, Dream Business Challenge. And finally, if you took a lot from this video and you actually want more, please please comment your biggest takeaways from this particular video, and most importantly, subscribe. It's free to do so, so that this way you can be alerted every single time we actually drop a video for you, some more additional training. And again, our content will not let you down. Again, thank you very much for listening to us. Thank you very much for being here. Let's, we'll see you on the next video.